Man. Oh. Oh shit! I'm sorry, guys. Was there a game last night? There's something.
That's the
Yeah,
rumor.
there was a fucking game. There was a fucking game.
That's the rumor.
6, baby. 6.
I don't think anybody told either team there was a game until the fourth quarter.
Of course, I'm bullshitting. What's good, everyone? We are back. I am Pat, aka the mayor of I don't even know anymore. As you can see, I am being joined by our white power overlord, Mr. Jeremy Griggs, and our Atlanta Falcons representative, the bearded bulldog himself, Roy. And this is our Super Bowl reaction / more NBA drama reaction edition of the Sports Wars podcast. How are we doing, gentlemen?
I'm mourning the season that's over now, and mourning that we have to deal with more Tom Brady bullshit.
Yeah, well, this other guy has like nothing to do with that at all. Nothing at all.
The GOAT, baby. As I have been saying since 2007, Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, and he has now proven he is the greatest team athlete of all time. 6 rings, 9 appearances, 17 years, been to the Super Bowl. Half of his seasons he's been playing. Nobody can stop this dude. He's amazing. But I'm doing pretty good, guys.
Okay, good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as you can probably surmise, we're going to go ahead and start with our initial thoughts, feelings, and reactions to the game. In what turned out to be a slug-out defensive battle, and ultimately ended up being
which is good and entertaining, unless you're one of these fucking gamers that are like, oh, it's not good unless it has graphics. Like football games, not good unless there's a bunch of scoring. Defensive chess matches are great to watch. That's what
they
an
are.
SEC fan would say.
You know,
in some cases, yeah.
When you know what to look for and what to appreciate, great defenses are pretty entertaining. But yeah, what ended up being the lowest scoring Super Bowl in history, the New England Patriots ranked their 6th win, tying the Pittsburgh Steelers for most championships in the league. Final score of 13-3 in a slug-out victory over the Los Angeles Rams. This thing was a stalemate for 3.5 quarters, pretty much, field goal to field goal. Both defenses, let's be honest, both defenses showed out. Granted, I know it was a losing effort, but the Rams defense, they played pretty damn well to hold a Brady-led offense in check for as long as they did. But eventually, he's going to find that mismatch and exploit it. Overall feelings, thoughts, just where you guys are at right now.
Well, as the Patriot fan, I'll jump in. And I just want to remind everybody that Patriots did come back from 25 down, I believe is what it was against Atlanta.
What the fuck? That's like 2 years ago.
I know.
Bringing up old shit.
No, but yeah, I think that New England went with a very conservative approach on offense because look at the last 2 seasons, the last 2 times that they've been in the Super Bowl. Atlanta definitely played a better football game than New England in that game, but it was a shootout. Yeah, it was a shootout, and that's typically not the way you want to that's not the position you want to put yourself in. And Brady had to throw for nearly 500 yards against Atlanta to beat him. It was a nail biter. And then last year, Brady throws for over 500 yards and loses in a shootout with the Eagles. So I definitely think that the New England offense, if you look at how they approached the San Diego game and the Kansas City game, both very good offenses, they were definitely trying to control the clock, control the ball, time management, let the defense rest, keep the opposing offense on the sidelines, and I think that was their approach for the most part. Brady definitely wasn't all-time great Brady. He kind of was a game manager last night. Obviously, he showed up when he needed to, but the superstar of last night for me was Bill Belichick. That was a masterpiece. What Belichick did really just shut down a very, very high-powered offense, and Jared Goff looked like he didn't belong on that stage. And I like Jared Goff, but he did not belong on that stage. So overall, the MVP of the game was truly Bill Belichick. And it was a masterpiece by Belichick for sure.
I don't disagree. I think this another star of this game Kind of going to the other sideline, Wade Phillips. I know we touched a little bit on. I mean, Brady didn't throw for a touchdown last night. The only touchdown that was scored by Georgia Bulldog Sonny Michel. But I mean, Wade, if you would have gone into this game and said Brady's not going to throw a touchdown, you're going to hold him 13 points, everyone would have said the Rams are going to fucking win this easily.
It's true.
Belichick did he did a great job. I think another someone else who's probably feeling really good right now that wasn't involved in this game last night at all is the Miami Dolphins. They actually hired the New England's defensive coordinator as their next head coach.
Correct.
So they definitely have to be feeling pretty good about that because, I mean, as you said, I mean, Rams are a high-powered offense. I'm very interested to find out what exactly was going on with Todd Gurley. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if it was a mental thing. Speaking of mental things, Sean McVay, Jared Goff, McVay got out-coached. There's no other way to put it. McVay got out-coached. Goff looked lost. As much as I know people have joked around that he looked like Ryan Gosling, he looked like Ryan Gosling trying to cover that guy and Remember the Titans. He looked fucking terrible out there. Like,
he's a liability, man. He was a liability.
Every time the camera focused on Jared Goff, he was lost in the moment. Like, you can tell that, like, this, watching him last night throws into doubt everything that I was like, man, this kid's growing. He's developing. After watching him shrink in that moment last night, man, I'm having serious doubts. Like, I don't know what the future of Goff is, but I know that he has to exercise that demon because he looked completely outmatched.
Let me be devil's advocate for you real quick here, okay? Was Sean McVay out-coached, or did Jared Goff actually just, shit the bed? Because let's just hypothetically say, let's put a Tom Brady from 2001 and the way he handled that moment on Sean McVay's offense last night. Brady wasn't like throwing for 500 yards in that game, but Brady had a really good game that first Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
One of the things that they brought up during the game, I think it was Romo that brought it up because Romo notices these kind of things. It was brought up in the past that the Rams typically rush to the line and get there and get lined up before 15 seconds on the shot clock or the game clock. The reason being is because the coaches can still communicate with Goff through his headset.
Right.
And it allows McVay to call out the defense and do the pre-snap reads for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they made an adjustment last night in that they waited to get to the line until, like, they didn't even get huddled up until there was 15 seconds left on the play clock, because that's also when the linebackers' headsets cut off. So right. Belichick couldn't talk to his guys to get them to reline up with the correct guys.
Right.
I think that came back to bite him. Goff couldn't do the pre-snap reads like McVay can, and obviously, don't quote me on this, but nobody does the pre-snap readings like Brady does. I mean, there's an elite class of guys who can line up pre-snap and tell you exactly what's going to happen, exactly what the defense is going to do. Brady, obviously, Manning, obviously Montana, guys like that who can.
I feel like Brady and Manning are kind of the
class.
Yeah, they are.
Maybe Breeze.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely put Breeze in that conversation, but I think Brady and Peyton are they're separated from everybody else.
Goff, up until last night, had always been kind of protected. And it got pointed out to me during not last year's playoff game against the Falcons. And that was the game that the Falcons won. That if you to fuck him up is to once that 15 seconds hits on the play clock, change what the defense is doing. And if he has to make any kind of adjustments, he's fucked. And Goff, man, I put last night more on Goff than McVay because there's only so much McVay can do for him.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that I mean, don't get me wrong, it comes down to it. Yes, Sean McVay was out-coached technically, but Jared Goff really looked lost. He looked like a lost puppy dog out there.
He every time, dude, on the sidelines, he just was like starry-eyed and just looking at, like, I would have thought he took a big hit the way he was just like looking at the stars. Like, dude, you're in the biggest game of your life right now, and you look like a lost dog. Like, somebody needs to like pull him to the side and get his head in the game. So it was just, it was very bad. Like, that to me, that was the most. That was the moment that sticks out to me, is that he just the moment looked too big for Jared Goff.
Well, here's the general, my general reaction. Few key points. Number one, the mystery revolving around what's really going on with Todd Gurley is equivalent to what we were all thinking in terms of why the hell Malcolm Butler didn't play in last year's Super Bowl. Like, that's the main, like, what the fuck moment that I think people are going to be diving into as time goes on.
But I think with at least with Gurley, though, there's a theory, like, okay, maybe he wasn't 100% healed, but then Gurley kind of came out last week after everybody was asked, or not last week, 2 weeks ago after the NFC Championship game, and everybody was asking, oh, why didn't you play more? And he just was like, oh, wow, I sucked. Like,
yeah, I think potentially for whatever sources, inside sources, whatever, it'll eventually come out what really was ailing him. My other major takeaway with regard to the Rams offense in particular, obviously the offense let the defense down because the Rams defense, we established, they played very well, all things considered.
13 points.
Yeah. But the Rams offensive line in particular, the interior, they truly let the team down. Because New England's pass rush, they got some good guys. Don't get me wrong. You know, Hightower, Trey Flowers, Dietrich Wise, they got some players. But we haven't seen them light up a quarterback and get through a line like it's a revolving door like that in a long time. Like last year versus Philly. Granted, I know Hightower didn't play versus Philly, but Philly's line was like, no. Rams, go on. There you go.
The Rams didn't have a single red zone snap.
Not one.
And the up until like what when right before Sony Michel ran it in, that was the first red zone snap for the Patriots. Like, this was a defensive battle throughout. And I mean,
crazy.
It was. I mean, there were some parts of it where I don't want to say boring, because usually with defensive battles you get like lots of hard hits and big defensive plays. It just seems
right
from both offenses. It was kind of sloppy.
True. And then the other major takeaway, or I guess more like two, with regard to the Rams defense, two things. One, Aaron Donald in the post-game conference.
God damn it, Brady, fucking stand up. It's not like anybody's going to be able to touch you.
Yeah, somebody just threw a flag. Brady fell over.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm fucking distracting y'all. I'm sorry.
You're good. So post-game press conference, Aaron Donald talks about how he feels like he let the team down. Like, no, dude, you were a beast. So just for him to verbalize that and say that kind of gives you indication as to how high his character is.
Did you see him throw Brady around like a rag doll? Holy fuck. Like, that was vicious.
He manhandled him.
Dude, Aaron Donald is not human. Aaron
Donald is a grown-ass man.
Yeah, he's a freak.
But secondly, obviously Donald and Sue and Fowler all played very well. Littleton and those much maligned Rams linebackers played pretty well. Peters in the secondary pretty much balled out. I was shocked at the fact that the main weak link in the Rams defense was Aqib Talib. He could not do shit with Edelman all night.
It's not his fault, though, dude. Nobody can cover Edelman.
I mean, that's what's crazy is, okay, like the Patriots spent the last two playoff games running the shit out of the ball. So the Rams were like, we're going to stop them. We're not going to let Gronk beat us. If you're going to let anybody beat you, fuck it. Give Edelman his yards. Let Edelman have it. I'm not going to let Gronk go over the top, and I'm not going to get pounded by Michelle. They did exactly what you should do. They didn't let Gronk beat him. Edelman wasn't breaking out they weren't like 30, 40-yard passes. They were like 8, 12, 15. Mm-hmm. And it was just chipping away. And even then, it was like the Rams were like just bending and not breaking. It wasn't until that wheel route to Gronk there at the end when he caught it inside like the 2 that they finally let it slip.
Well, a second ago, Jeremy, you said that no one can cover Edelman. For the most part, that's true. But last night was a good indication of the fact that specific slot guys like Chris Harris Jr. in Denver from that no-fly zone defense a couple years ago, those dudes are few and far in between because he's the only person I've seen check up Edelman one-on-one and just take him out.
Well, yeah, but really what it comes down to is I don't think you can say anything. Like, I don't think there's any critique of the Rams defense you can give because the bottom line, like Roy just said, 13 points. 13 points. So even if Edelman did get 10 catches, 141 yards, he got the MVP because he's on the winning team, not necessarily because he was the most valuable player in the game. He was the most valuable player in the game because he was on the winning team. But the most valuable if you want to break it down player-wise, who's the most valuable was Jared Goff because he was so valuable to hurting his team because he was so bad. I mean, again, Roy nailed it. If you would have said Tom Brady has no touchdown passes and the New England Patriots are going to have 13 points, even David LaRock would have been like, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. This Rams offense averages 35 points a game. We're going to lose. You know what I mean? So the defense did their job.
If Alshon Jeffrey makes that catch and the Eagles ultimately make it back, and you tell me New England scores 13 points against Nick Foles' Magic, he would have lit their asses up.
Yeah.
But it's that discrepancy in poise and preparation and just where a person is at in their career. I think Jared Goff is going to be pretty good, but they got to figure something out because if this stuff about just being so dependent on what McVay feeds into his helmet, it's not sustainable long term. It's just not.
It's not. I mean, we're in the first couple of years. I was I don't want to say I was a Jared Goff defender as much as I was like, look, man, just give the kid time. Like the first year was pretty much a lost year with fucking Jeff Fisher. The next year, McVay, I think we can all agree McVay is a fucking like offensive wizard for the most part. His shrinking on Sunday notwithstanding.
There are people on Twitter calling for his job right now.
Yeah,
that just lets you know how ridiculous people are.
Ridiculous. But I mean, Goff is he's going to play out his rookie deal. I mean, they'll see what he is after that. I don't really know what to make of him right now. I mean, it's still stinging right now. But 13 points. That is the lowest scoring. That's low scoring output by a Super Bowl winner in the history of the Super Bowl.
I will say this, okay? As a Patriots fan, longtime Patriots fan, Tom Brady fan, I'm telling you right now, though, the 13 points scored by New England was reflective of the lack of points scored by LA. If LA would have been putting up touchdowns, Brady would have been putting touchdowns up too. I promise you.
It definitely allowed them to kind of get like just comfortable and coast. Right. Like they weren't pressing.
I was talking halfway through the second quarter. Belichick was like, "Okay, we can just find this out."
Dude, I was talking to my cousin, and once the crowd started chanting Brady, I told him, I said, "Dude, it's happening. Like I can feel it. The crowd feels it. Like Brady's fixing to take him down there. We're fixing to score. Like it's just going to happen. Like you just knew it was going to happen." And that was like a perfect pass that he threw to Gronkowski. You can say you don't have a touchdown pass, but it's all because they chose to run the ball in from the one. I mean, that was a beautiful pass to the 1 yard line between four people. And yeah, so if LA would have put more points up, I'm 100% positive New England would have put more points up as well. But that's the genius of Brady and Belichick. They know how to take what's coming to them. You know what I mean? And they played it perfectly. And then LA started to get aggressive. and they tried to go for the home run ball, and Jared Goff made a awful mistake. Awful mistake. Like, that was a bad throw.
Time out. Stop. All the people, Jeremy, don't take this personal, all the people who are always so enamored with Brady, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but just heap the Lions' 99.999% share of the credit to Brady and him exclusively. Can we get some props from a man, Stephon Gilmore? This dude has been like a top 3 corner for a solid 2 years now, and pretty much sealed it with that pick. But because he's a defensive player in New England,
you know what? I won't even say the play of that game. The play of the game was Gilmore. The play of the game to me was I forget which one it was, but it was one of the McCourty twins.
They broke up
in the back of that end zone.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was a complete busted cover.
No, that was actually Jason McCourty, the one who came from Cleveland.
Yeah, he the way when that ball sailed, if Goff would have put it on a like frozen rope to him, touchdown easily. But because he put a little air under it and allowed McCourty to get there, that was like the biggest heads up play in the entire game to me. Because if he doesn't hit him, or if he just goes for the ball, then he still likely catches that. But to be able to, he hit him just as soon as the ball got there, and no touchdown. I believe that would have taken the lead and like completely changed the momentum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he also didn't get a no call for pass interference like other people. But anyway, all in all, I want to go ahead and kind of close this out now that we've given our general reactions with basically questions for both you guys. Not in a micro sense, but in a macro sense, where do each of you see the AFC and the NFC going from this point moving forward? Is this going to be a paradigm shift? Does shit stay the same? Like, how do you feel?
I'm gonna let Roy go with that one because he's the NFC guy.
I can let you take the AFC. NFC, I'm gonna say it like I said last year with the Eagles. Nobody's scared of the Rams. We saw that the Saints are still the state flavor of Louisiana right now is still salt.
Still virgins.
Yeah, still salty. If any of you haven't seen the front page of the New Orleans newspaper today, please look that up. It's they're still crying. Obviously New Orleans isn't afraid of the Rams. No one else is. I mean, they kind of fell down to earth towards the end of the season, but they found a way to still win games. They didn't. This isn't like even Atlanta a couple years ago when that offense, people were still kind of scared because all the same pieces were coming back except for Shanahan. I would say McVay lost an OC. Well, I guess the OC with quotation marks around it because everybody knows McVay calls those plays. I still think it's wide open, but I still think it's the same handful of rotating cast of characters: Rams, Saints, Falcons, Vikings, maybe Eagles, Cowboys.
I think the AFC definitely is more top heavy, and I think the two most feared teams in the NFL are in the AFC. That's the Patriots and that's the Chiefs. They are the Chiefs are there. They're gonna be the Vegas favorite. To go to the Super Bowl. I'm not worried about it. I mean, if New England during this season can go to Arrowhead and beat KC, and they already beat KC, they beat them twice last year. You know what I mean? But generally speaking, is how I'm looking at it. KC's the second most feared team in the NFL right now, and so that puts the AFC as top heavy. I don't know how to feel about the Chargers going into next year. I mean, I think they're going to be relevant. And then after that, I think Roy's right on the money. Nobody is scared of the Rams. Like, nobody. What's the face for, Pat?
You really brought up the bum-ass Chargers.
I mean, I'm just saying.
To say that nobody gives a fuck about the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers hit the perfect storm of not getting injured for once in, like, Philip Rivers' entire career, and they couldn't piece it all together. Like
No,
the first time in Phillip Rivers' career, he didn't have
I'm
his
just
primary
being,
receiver isn't injured.
yeah,
His
I'm just being
top
petty.
3 defensive players aren't injured, and they still.
Derwin James is a beast.
Yeah,
But
you just can't deal with the Chargers. So I hear you. But anyway, no, I mean, really, the right now the AFC to me has more going for it in terms of top heavy, but I think the NFC has a little more substance. You have the teams like the Rams that are not feared necessarily, but they have talent and they have a lot going for them with McVay. The Saints are kind of still.
I'll even say the AFC probably has a lot more intriguing teams, even in the middle. Everybody knows the top heavy NFC. I mean, not top heavy, but the handful, the ones that all of them are neck and neck. It's Chicago, New Orleans, LA, Atlanta, Carolina. I'm very interested to see how next year's going to go with them if Cam has to sit out.
Yeah.
But in New England, I mean, in the AFC, you got teams that are really Indianapolis. I never thought I'd be saying
here's where I'm at overall. As far as the NFC goes, New Orleans' window is closed. I'm sorry. That team's offense disguised its weaknesses all year long until they hit a buzzsaw in Dallas, and they were never the same after that. Breeze clearly regressed from that middle point or past middle point of the season. Before and after Dallas, his QBR went from 120-something down into the high 70s. All right?
And they
have no deep threat. If you guard Michael Thomas like a tight end, you can pretty much shut him out because that's how he runs his routes, as a tight end, not even as a receiver. Ted Ginn is getting old. Sooner or later, you're going to have to start paying the defense. New Orleans is not set up for long-term success. All right? Mm-hmm. As far as Chicago goes, I think they can be good to a certain point, but it all depends on Trubisky. If he really starts to develop,
I was going to say it's pretty.
Then they'll be serious.
It's pretty handy that Aaron's not on this podcast because I think if you wanted my honest opinion, I think right now Biscuits is probably a slightly better Blake Bortles.
Right, and as far as the rest of the NFC,
gonna get so mad about that. He's gonna be pissed. Wow.
I'm gonna get an angry fucking text message.
Wow.
I said slightly better. Shit.
That's pretty bad, dude. That's pretty bad.
Yeah,
dude. When I said he's Joe Flacco, he lost it on me.
Hold on. That's because Aaron wants to physically punch Joe Flacco in the face.
Yeah, he doesn't like Joe Flacco for whatever reason. Any fucking way. AFC. Tell me who the number one offensive line was last year.
It was the Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts, now with the best O-line in the league, which is a completely 180 paradigm shift from what was going on before. Andrew Luck back healthy, fully healthy, moving into his prime, physically, mentally, all that. They have close to $100 million in cap space and a shit ton of draft picks.
Like
in a division
draft picks.
In a division with a Blake Bortles-led Jacksonville and a Houston Texans that, sorry, Deshaun, I like you a lot, but the Texans, they can't get over the hump. They just can't. The Colts are going to threaten either a 1 or a 2 seed in the AFC. It's either going to be New England 1, Colts 2, or Kansas City 1, Colts 2. That's where I'm at. Because they're going to shore up that defense, add probably a running back and a deep threat, and oh shit.
Dude, I'm calling Cleveland to make some fucking noise next year. Cleveland's going to win the AFC North, man.
Oh yeah, they will.
I like
old Big Ben without Le'Veon and without AB, who will probably be a fucking 49er.
But I'm not gonna lie, Indianapolis scares the shit out of me. All that cap room.
They're gonna get spending.
Can I just make a point to say I was right about AB? I mean, he is definitely the most talented wide receiver, but I will take Julio all day long over him because he's a diva. He's a bitch. Like, he's a distraction. He is a me guy.
I've been saying that for years.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's just –
Who disputed you on that, though?
A couple of them Steeler nut jobs in the group. You know, what was it, Xavier? Xavier's always, you know, like, you know, he's the greatest wide receiver. I'm like, he's a diva. He's a distraction. Like, that is part of, you know, him. You know what I mean? Like, that is part of his value as a receiver. His talent is off the charts.
Yeah, I mean, dude, give me the.
And he is probably still the best receiver in the NFL. But I'll still take Julio. And who would New England take? Who would New England?
Even that is debatable.
Yeah.
I'd argue Nuck is better than him at this point.
Huh?
Hopkins is better than Brown.
DeAndre Hopkins.
I don't know. I mean, again, a part of when you're talking about talent, I think Brown has it, but everything that comes along with it also plays into his value. You know what I mean?
Give me the Julio, give me the Megatron, give me Marvin Harrison, give me the quiet guy who's going to go out there.
Yeah.
I mean, the greatest stories I hear about Julio is when you get these DBs who are just talking trash to him. And Julio just lines up across from him, just kind of smirks at him, smiles at him, and then goes out there and catches a fucking 40-yard pass and smiles and smirks at him as he walks back to the huddle. And it's just
Josh Norman.
Yeah, Josh Norman is like –
I mean, your attitude plays such a huge role. Randy Moss is probably the most talented football player I've ever seen in my life. But because he didn't have that Jerry Rice mentality, Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver ever. It just is. Yeah. But Randy Moss was more talented, but Randy Moss didn't care half the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Randy Moss, even when he was in New England, even when he and Brady set records, he still eventually checked out because he just had that mentality about him. You know what I mean? And if Randy Moss would have had the Jerry Rice
he also said that he didn't feel appreciated there.
Again, typical wide receiver mentality. Like, you know, like you didn't feel appreciated, bro. You got like 22 touchdowns in a season or whatever that was that year. You know what I mean? And of course, the following year, Matt Castle came in. Moss still had a decent season because, I mean, I could be the quarterback with Randy Moss as a receiver and still throw 10, 15 touchdowns in a season.
I mean, and meanwhile, Julio had 3 touchdowns all last year, not a peep.
There you go.
Not a peep. 3 touchdowns, and then he went
that's what happens when you have a slightly better version of Andy Dalton throwing to you. All right, we're he's done. He's done. All right, I took us off subject. I apologize, Pat. Get us back on track. Get us back on track.
No, fucking done. Fucking done.
Remember that picture of I forget which player in particular it was, of fucking Aaron Rodgers just getting his fucking.
Oh, Vic Beasley, I've got that picture. I'll send it to you. I've got it. I'm gonna put it
Jeremy,
on.
Jeremy, you keep pushing buttons. Roy's gonna call some people and have Keanu Neal just knock you in the fucking next week.
Keanu's from Florida. He's from Florida. He'll be down there.
Shit could happen.
I'll be done.
Moving right along. We got to touch on. We're actually a little bit late on this one. But we got to touch on some shit pertaining to this NBA trade deadline. Now, before we get to all the AD hoopla nonsense going on, there was the little matter of Kristaps Porzingis getting traded to the Dallas Mavericks from the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
Kristaps Porzingis, when he comes back healthy next year, is going to be playing on the same team as Luka Doncic, under the mentorship of Dirk Nowitzki. Like, who's fucking with in terms of the Euro talent? Who was fucking with Dallas?
Did you actually hear the announcement today that this year this is Dirk's last year?
Really?
Oh yeah, but
I didn't hear that. I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, it came out.
You know he's gonna be close to the organization even still though.
Yeah. Oh no, he'll absolutely. He'll absolutely be there. But yeah, it was announced today that this is Dirk's farewell tour, man.
Yeah, this whole Porzingis deal just came out of nowhere, and he was asked. Was it today? Did they have the press conference? Was that yesterday? Where they wanted him to kind of give a little more meat on the bone as to what happened, but he won't. And I think that was the best move, focused on moving forward, not the past. But
right.
Yeah, it was very shocking. It was a very shocking move. And I'll be honest, I didn't follow any of the lead into that, so I don't really know all of the details as to what happened exactly with him in the organization. I know they've been shopping him for a while.
Well, there really wasn't any lead up. It was like it was like I've got Bleacher Report app on my phone, and it came up and it was like, the KP has told the front office he wants to be traded. And then like 20 minutes later, it's like breaking news: KP traded to Dallas. And we're like, holy fuck! There's no way that his trade demand happened that fast. It was like, oh no, this is something that's
you know what the craziest thing about this happening and it falling into our laps in terms of like the topic set up for this particular show right now, Roy and Jeremy, this plays directly into two major topics revolving around the NBA that we've been talking about for years. Jeremy, in your case, the New York Knicks becoming relevant, becoming a powerhouse to represent the mecca of basketball that is New York City. They trade away a superstar, get a handful of decent incremental pieces to clear up space to make a major push for a Kyrie Irving and a Kevin Durant in free agency. And for you, Roy, what you and I have talked about, this plays into the big mystery conundrum that we've had for years, before Zach kind of fleshed it out a little bit more of us in terms of management and behind the scenes shit. Why the hell can't the Dallas Mavericks attract more free agents? It's a nice city, no state tax, get your bang for your buck with real estate.
Player-friendly owner.
Fine women everywhere. Like, if I'm, an eligible free agent young player, I'm giving Dallas a pretty good look. But up until this, it seems like it wasn't happening, but now you see the paradigm shifting. So I think this whole situation is going to have some very long-lasting ramifications for both teams involved.
The rumors going around the league right now is apparently the front office of the Knicks is extremely confident that KD is going to be a Knick next year.
Really? Where are you hearing that from?
That's the growing sentiment is that the Knicks are front runners. Like if they were betting odds, the Knicks would be in the front.
I like it.
Also released today was Anthony Davis as his agent kind of leaked the 4 destinations that he would resign. One of them was the Lakers. One was the Clippers. Jerry fucking West, man. He is the man. One was the Knicks.
I saw the list, yeah.
And then the surprise team that caught me off guard was Milwaukee.
Translation, fuck you, Boston.
Yeah, fuck you, Boston.
Well, I'll say this. As excited as I am with the idea of Davis going to LA with LeBron, I would rather see him in New York.
Oh no, I would too. I ranked my teams. I ranked the 4 teams that he chose. I ranked the Lakers at the bottom. I would much rather see him in New York. Milwaukee would be fucking dope, and then the Clippers, and then the Lakers. You imagine a Knicks team with
Kyrie and Anthony Davis.
Kyrie, not just Kyrie and Anthony Davis. Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and then Zion, the kid out of Duke, because they can still get that. Kyrie, KD, Anthony Davis, and Zion.
Bro, I'll go buy me some Knicks. I'll go buy me some Knicks gear right now.
Shit, I would too. Like, dude,
because I just love the Knicks. I just love. I don't know. It was something about the Knicks. Growing up, I was a Jordan fan, so it was always special when they played the Knicks in the playoffs. Patrick Ewing, John Stark, all that stuff.
Yeah, I used to
Anthony
love
Mason. And I just the logo, the Madison Square Garden, the mecca of basketball. I don't know, man. It needs to be. It's like, to me, it's like Yankees. It's like the Dallas Cowboys. Those teams need to be relevant for those.
The first NBA Finals that I remember really like paying attention. Not the first one that I saw, because I did catch the Bulls three-peat, some of the Bulls three-peat, but the first one like I really followed as a sports fan was, I believe it was the '94 Finals, the Knicks versus the Rockets, the one that went 7 games. Patrick Ewing, John Starks, Derek Harper, Charles Smith, Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley still holds a special place in my heart. He's one of my favorite players. Nobody fucks with the Oak Tree. And But yeah, man, I've always it's bummed me out that for the Knicks not to not be good for as long as they have. And like I've joked around in our Sports Wars Facebook group, like, man, who wants to chip in and buy the fucking Knicks? Can we get them away from James Dolan?
Yeah, because
let's start up a fucking GoFundMe. Let's buy the Knicks.
Yeah,
the brand sells itself, so we'll get our money back. All we got to do is just field a basketball team that makes the playoffs year in and year out. It'll pay for itself.
Yep.
And man, it's one of those brands that it's really bumming me the fuck out that the team, they just can't put a team there consistently. And I mean, even if they get half of the guys they're aiming for, if they somehow end up with KD and Kyrie, dude, that's it. That'll be enough to at least get the playoffs. And then we'll get those old school rivalries back of Boston and the 76ers.
Yeah, they would be a lock for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
If they had KD and Kyrie, and probably facing the 76ers. You know what I mean? They'd be a lot.
More than likely, yeah.
Can we get Giannis to go ahead and go to New York too? I know he's not going to leave.
Giannis loves fucking Milwaukee. I don't know.
He's not going to leave. He's not going to leave. So
Giannis don't give a fuck about all this stuff.
I don't know. Does the weather in Milwaukee remind him of Greece? What's the weather like?
I don't know, man. I don't get. It's crazy. Anyway,
maybe it's how northern it is. Longitude, latitude, and all that good stuff. I'm sure.
Hell, I mean, dude, to be honest, I wouldn't
some
mind
flat earther will come into the comments
and correct me.
Well, the coordinates are this. Fuck out of here. But yeah, in related news, like we mentioned Anthony Davis a second ago, this whole thing between LA and New Orleans front office right now is pretty damn interesting, because right now LA is offering Kuzma, Ball, Ingram, real estate, a night with Kim Kardashian, breakfast at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, a 2 free parking passes to Six Flags. Like, they're fucking offering them half the state of California to get Anthony Davis. And New Orleans is like, well, we'll talk to you later.
I think that I think there's one thing holding that deal back. I think since Lonzo is in that deal, I think if LA and if Magic would say, we'll give you Lonzo, but we'll keep LeVar. We'll keep LeVar here. And that would make them go, you know what? That's a good deal.
And you knew it wouldn't be long, but LeVar has finally commented on the trade rumors. And he is kind of confirmed what Lonzo's been saying. Lonzo doesn't want to go to New Orleans. I know Lonzo floated the idea about possibly going to Chicago. LeVar's throwing out that he thinks his son would be best in Phoenix.
He wants him to go somewhere that would have an active need for a pass first point guard.
Yeah,
which is
Lonzo would come off
completely unreasonable.
Orleans, so,
by the way, I love LeVar Ball. By the way, I think he's awesome.
I think
he's awesome.
I think it was very,
as do I.
I think it was very telling that he took a warm glass and shut the fuck up this year. LeBron's on the team, and he's just like, I'm not saying shit.
Yep.
I'm not gonna fuck
well,
up.
you know the behind the scenes reason why.
LeBron told him to shut the fuck up. Like, I mean,
in exchange for him being a little bit less bombastic publicly, through LeBron and through Rich Paul, he got investment into his JBA, which is actively producing and funding players. Like that whole, like the whole, all the slander in the media, all the shit talk that you heard about the JBA, it went away when it actually started to work. Funny how that works out.
Yep.
So, but all the same.
I mean, I've been hearing, like I said, I mean, the rumor today was, I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of guys that got thrown into that deal. Like, there's one picture floating around. It's Magic wearing a updated Lakers jersey, and like he's gonna be the new starting point guard if this trade goes through. Just because there's not gonna be anybody fucking left. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that many. I mean, this is what, 6, 7 guys for AD, and then another guy there, Solomon Hill, which I think is just a guy that they're going to do to make the salaries work, and then they're going to cut him loose. But that would free up the Lakers to sign Carmelo, which is coming.
Yep.
So, which I think it would still be pretty interesting, because they still have JaVale McGee. LeBron goes from playing the 4 to probably playing the 2, or he probably playing point guard because they're trading Rondo and Lonzo in this fucking deal.
He'd basically be a point forward.
Yeah, which is what he did in Cleveland. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's not really, it wouldn't be that big of a deal for him. They better hope he heals right, or else it's just going to be the AD show, and AD's going to be right back where he was in New Orleans. I'm actually rooting for this trade not to happen. I don't want. I think as the Lakers, you got to, but for me, I would rather see AD in New York.
I mean, I get the sense of urgency behind it, but from a structural standpoint, like, you're basically just shipping away a bunch of dudes that you scouted out and drafted and are actively developing for one major piece. I mean, granted, yeah, he's a superstar, but AD also gets hurt fairly often.
But I mean, the analogy that I brought up to me that I kept hearing was I know this is going to sound blasphemous, but this right here, trading a top 5 player who's 25. He's 25 years old. You're trading a top 5 player in his prime is the equivalent of back when Kareem got traded from Milwaukee to LA. Like, it's that level of, you don't see players that are 25 years old in their prime get traded.
I don't think that's blasphemous really at all relative to what that player is at that point within the league. Like, if you look at what Kareem was when the league was where it's at, like, no, I'm not bothered by that analogy.
I mean, it's you don't see that. And I joked around with one of the guys in the group earlier, like, they mentioned all the guys getting traded, Kuzma, Lonzo, Ingram, Rondo, Beasley, Lance Stevenson. I would trade all those fuckers twice to get AD. Like, trade them back to me so I can trade them back to you again. Like, that's AD is a top 5 talent in this league. This is not a move that's being made for this year. This is a move that's being made for next year, 3 years from now, 5 post LeBron. This is not not going to win it. You're not winning championships this year. You're not winning championships with LeBron and AD. You're damn sure not going to win them with the guys you got now.
If they do put in for Lance Stevenson, you at least don't have to turn on the engines for the plane. You can just put him out back and have him blow it.
I mean, at the very least, Lance has been pretty entertaining this year.
He's not a bad player. Like,
no, he's not.
Is he going to get you over the hump? No, but he'll get you, a decent, 10-2-4.
Lance off the bench, I think, for a contender, you put Lance in, like, Toronto, Milwaukee, he would be a valuable piece.
I don't have his stats right in front of me, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's averaging more points than PJ Tucker.
Let's see.
He might be. Yeah, look it up real quick and see. He is entertaining, though. There's no doubt about that.
Googles.
Yeah, Lance is. Let's see.
He's so damn stupid. It's funny as hell.
I mean, he can't. Like, he absolutely. Like, don't get me wrong. When he was on the Pacers, it was just like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, sit down. Like, he was irritating as fuck. But, like, when you kind of step back and I don't want to say just divorce yourself from the situation. Let's see. He's averaging 7.5, which is lower than I thought.
But it's kind of back and forth. There are a handful of games where he's putting up almost 20. All right, now let me pull up PJ Tucker's shit.
8 even.
Okay, so just about it.
Yeah. So, and now here's the kicker, though. PJ Tucker is averaging 35 minutes a game. Lance Stevenson is averaging about 16 minutes a game.
Oh, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So, and PJ Tucker has started 52. Lance hasn't started any games this year.
Damn.
So, like you said, that definitely changes things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you get a Lance that can come off the bench and not even, like, score 20 or 30. Just irritate the fuck out of the other team. Like, blow in their ear. Like,
just be that.
Fake like you got shot and lay on the court for 5 minutes.
That's what he does.
So I mean, that's the shit he does. He's Rodman without like the super over the top shit. Like when he's on your team, he's hilarious. When you're playing against him, you want to fight him.
Yep. Yeah. So that's actually a pretty good parallel, even though he's not, cross-dressing or any kind of shit like that.
When he was with the Pacers and they were playing against Miami in the playoffs.
That comment's probably going to get me in trouble, but whatever.
when they were playing against Miami in the playoffs, and like anybody not an Indiana fan was just like, "Fuck this guy! This guy's
ready to fucking strangle him." Like,
and now, like in LA, he like what they call this team, the meme team. I mean, with Lance and JaVale, and like, dude, this team is. To me, the shit that kills me now is like they'll show the highlights and Lance will make a three and then he'll go to like half court and do like air guitar and shit.
Yep.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Lance?
He's an idiot, dude. He's entertaining.
But I mean, I'd be bummed if I don't want them to trade Lance. Like, man, just keep Lance. He's like
he gives you some personality. He gives personality.
And
all right, we can kind of wrap this up with a little bit of rapid fire. If either one of you guys, if you have the Infinity Gauntlet, you can snap your fingers. Where do KD and AD end up next year? Go.
New York.
New York. I want KD to end up, or I want AD to end up in New York, but I think it's going to be LA. Nobody can offer the Hornets what the Lakers are offering, and but I do think I think KD does end up in New York.
Okay. I kind of have to actually agree with both of you guys. I think AD's, even if he just holds out and just signs there after he walks, ends up at Laker no matter what. I think the list of other candidates is to just kind of placate all the people who are bitching about tampering. I think it's just to kind of, get them to calm the hell down. KD, if he doesn't go to New York, I could see him signing probably just another 1 year here in Golden State. Because I don't think the whole him going home to Washington to deal with that shit, that's not going to happen.
Is there any chance KD goes to LA?
No.
There seems to be like right up until they traded KP. I could have swore I heard some rumblings about KD going to the Lakers, but I don't.
I'm willing to go off on a limb and guarantee that that's not going to happen, just because of the nature of KD's makeup, whatever you want to call it, his ego, his softness, whatever the case. He, on a personal level, he's friends with LeBron, but on a professional level, he wants to compete against him. He's never going to usurp LeBron's spot, ever, but he wants to compete. And that's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
I agree.
We've gone over the Defense Bowl. We've gone over all the latest NBA happenings. Is there anything in general you guys want to just kind of get off your chest? Maybe not necessarily in the form of a shout out, but just in general, free form, as we close out.
Roy, anything?
I mean, I'm looking forward to more saltiness out of New Orleans, especially when they trade Anthony Davis. It's been a shitty week for New Orleans. Looking forward to that, especially if they don't get like, I don't really know what the prize piece of that puzzle would be. Ingram, maybe Kuzma. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the NBA getting ramped up. Trade deadline is my favorite. The NBA trade deadline is my favorite trade deadline of all sports. And then I really wish that the NBA would have had a chance to really kind of kick up the drama this week, especially if AD would have been traded. But I'm happy with one Eastern All-Star getting traded. But yeah, man, I'm ready for NBA to really start kicking in. All-Star games, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
And then the trade deadline is this Thursday, right? No, is it the 9th?
It's the 7th.
7th. So yeah, this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
3 days. So be on the lookout for a Sports War Special Edition trade deadline discussion. But yeah, I mean, I'm as always, man, looking forward to NBA trade deadline. I love it. I love player movement. This kind of shit always like gets me amped up. More mock drafts too. Ready for the NFL.
Right. Jeremy, anything outside of your prior 16 Patriots videos?
No, I mean, everybody needs to get ready because Sports Wars is about to take off. We're going to be starting to bring the heat. There's going to be individual videos from myself, from Pat, from Roy, from some other people on the team. We're not here for your feelings. We're here to give you our thoughts on things.
Wear your cups, bitches. Wear your cups.
And none of us, a lot of us are not going to agree with the shit. These motherfuckers don't agree with half the shit. Fuck, 90% of the shit I say. And I don't agree with 90% of the shit they say. And that's exactly how we like to have
I almost quit once because the Andy Dalton comment, God damn it.
Yeah. And so we talk shit. We like to have fun. We like to debate. Anybody who's here for sports and sports talk, you know how it is. You know how we roll. We fuck with each other. We talk shit. We, give each other a hard time. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to be bringing the heat. And if you made it this far into this episode, that means you watched the whole thing. We definitely appreciate that. And definitely go back and watch some of our other podcast episodes here on the channel. Watch them all the way through because it helps us with the watch time. And that's something we're really working on right now to get those watch time minutes up so we can get the channel monetized. We'll start bringing some live streams, getting a little more interactive with everybody. So, we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a hell of a year for Sports Wars. And we're going to kick ass. We're going to take names, and we're looking forward to it. Also, check out geeksandgamers.com. We are affiliated with Geeks and Gamers directly. And, over time, we'll start to see us incorporate a little more sports on the website as it permits. So that's it.
Okay. As far as what I have to get off my chest in a send-off, not to be too much of a buzzkill, but being completely honest, yesterday on a personal level was not really a good day for me. Primarily because the nature of the reality of this whole situation with the Raiders' departure from Oakland is starting to really set in. As of right now, they don't know where the team is playing next year. We might be playing in Oracle Park, which belongs to the San Francisco Giants. We might be playing at the University of Las Vegas. It's everything happening with this team right now. It's really gotten to a point where, and this might come off as arrogant, but it's just the truth. It's beneath my dignity, and it's getting to a point where they're really not worth my time. The quarterback is more worried about fighting media figures in the MMA than he is about playing. It's the worst coach in the league. It's the worst ownership in the league. Worst roster in the league. My fandom with regard to teams is very much up in the air right now. So moving forward for the audience, for the faithful followers, if you don't see me going by the Mayor of Oakland moniker anymore, don't be shocked. I'm not going to do anything super brash, but I just wanted to publicly express what I've spoken about with the guys privately. I'm in a tough spot right now.
Yeah, I can't
it's just
even
the
imagine.
reality.
I can't imagine. It's crazy, man. There's so much stupidity going on.
I mean, the closest thing I've got that I can relate. Well, I don't even say that I can relate to is at the Atlanta Thrashers when they moved. But nobody gives a fuck down here. I mean, it's not like. I mean, in all honesty, the Raiders are a California institution, and the Vegas is fucking nuts. I feel like the NFL didn't do enough. They should have stepped in.
No. I can't, I can't even sit here and not that I ever would play the victim card in the presence of this dude over here. But yeah, it's not like we're the only ones. The Chargers up and left San Diego. When they get into that new stadium with the Rams, even though they lost the Super Bowl, they got there.
It's just
who's really gonna, are people really gonna care like that when there's a million things to do in LA?
To me, the Raiders are one of those the franchises that are so tied to their city. Even though they did go to LA for what was it, a decade?
Yeah.
That's different. Going to LA, to me it would be like the Cowboys moving. It would be like the Packers moving. There's certain teams that are so ingrained with their city. The Yankees. Imagine the fucking Yankees. Oh, fuck it, we're going to Atlantic City. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So, I couldn't even imagine it.
It's rough. I may become the guy who's like the spectator who just tells you about every obscure safety versus tight end matchup.
Because the really, the only thing I could relate, the really tough part of it is to think like all the teams that are around you because you grew up with the Raiders, they're like your fucking rivals. So you're like, man, fuck the Chargers, fuck the 49ers. And like me, my fandom has always been geographic. So
right.
If the Falcons up and we're like, fuck it, we're leaving. Dude, I couldn't. The closest team to me is the Jaguars, but I mean, I don't really. They're still new. The Panthers, no. The Saints, fuck you. Like, no, it's not happening. Like,
well, speaking of like, let me ask you this in reference to that, because you know, like I said, we talk shit and everything, but it's like with the Falcons, like if the Falcons and the Bengals are playing at the same time, do you ever get confused when you flipping through and you see the Bengals? You're like, oh wait, is that the Falcon?
It's been a great podcast, you guys. Y'all next week. I'm gonna shut this shit down. I've got the record button and shit. Y'all. Anybody else want to finish?
He wants to fucking kill me right now. He wants to kill me.
I need that. Y'all remember that commercial, that Super Bowl commercial from like fucking 20 years ago? Terry Tate, the offensive linebacker.
Yeah.
Look that shit up on YouTube. That like I wish I had like an offense linebacker button. And like all of a sudden just tear me off the fucking side. I was like, that's it, everybody. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you needed any further proof of the bullshit Roy and I deal with working for this guy, there you go.
Shit's about to get spicy.
Very spicy.
Oh yes, I am not easy to deal with. That is true, and that's why it takes a couple of Rough Riders to deal with me, and that's what we got here at Sports Source. So
hooligans and assholes.
Hooligans, hashtag hooligans and assholes. But yeah, folks, that's going to pretty much do it for this week. Get interactive with us. Leave a comment down below pertaining to sports, not other random bullshit. Let us know what you think. If you're not a part of our Facebook community, make sure you join. Like Jeremy says, check us out on Twitter. Check out the website. Check us out on Instagram. Just come fuck with us. We're some cool motherfuckers over here. All right? That's all we got.
Some of us are. And always fuck Tom Brady. Again, fuck Tom Brady 6 times.